everybody. Welcome back to episode 4 of our clienteling holiday video podcast series. We've got John Liebler, Josh Wolfe here today, and I'm Gabrielle Smith. So thanks again for joining us. Last week we talked about, making an actual plan for the holidays. And so today we want to get real tactical, jump into the Clientbook app and just show you some spoilers if you haven't jumped into the Clientbook app before, or if you're already using it, give you some tips on how to use that. So, John, if you want to kick us off, talk about some of those core features that we're going to cover today, and then yeah, we'll get into it.
Yeah, that's great. It's good to see you all again, Josh. Love the shirt.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Right back at you.
hopefully you guys like my new kitchen that I've just put together here.
It looks
Uh,
beautiful.
yeah, it's interesting. Last week. I was on site with a client that they have 14 stores, and they're prepping for the holiday season. And we actually talked about this live. We had the opportunity to sit with all 14 of their managers. And to go back to what we talked about the last couple of episodes, this is a hard time of year, right? And we have to hyper focus on doing certain things really, really well. So if we remember correctly, capturing every customer. Now, how do you do that? How do you use the application? Josh is going to show you, literally you can type it in the application. How do you use the kiosk mode? How to use a QR code? And the other thing that is not terrible is this one client uses a piece of paper
Hmm.
because they call it a client capture card, and then they transfer the information, which, as long as you're safe and secure, that's a way to do it too. But the key is to capture the information in a way that the customer is going to feel comfortable. We're not going to interrogate them, but we can
Right.
remember what it is. We're going to talk about the customer profile itself when we talk about profile enrichment. The more I know about you, the more likely you are to shop, right?
Hmm.
The more I know about your anniversary dates, your likes, your dislikes, all of that. So we really want to talk about how to use the application with the customer, and Josh will show you that very quickly. Uh, and then while you're doing that, how to enrich the profile and then take advantage of the information from previous transactions to just make the sale better.
Right.
Uh, then there's after the customer leaves, and remember, we talked about before, during, and after the sale.
Mhm.
That doesn't always involve a transaction.
Hmm.
My son, 30-year-old yesterday, is like, Dad, I think I want to get Emma a ring. Right. And I got permission to talk to Emma, which is just amazing because, like, why don't talk to Emma about a ring? And her thing was, I want to go to a store with
Hmm.
Jake.
Right.
Right. That's important to her.
Absolutely.
That's before the sale. She's not buying anything. So how are you capturing all that? And then how are you reaching out to Jake and Emma later? Josh will show you that. Of course, reporting, and we'll probably save reporting for the episode following this because we want to dig into reporting. But not only that, how do you really celebrate those wins and make
Yeah.
people feel good about certain behaviors? And how do you not use reporting as a tool to beat up your teams and get bad
Hmm.
behaviors because you're not collecting enough information? And then the last piece we'll talk about probably 2 episodes from now is special events. I'm gonna, you may want to cut this out, you may not, but we just got off an executive call and we might be building out a special event flow
Ooh.
in our platform to go along with our appointment booking for Q1.
Exciting stuff.
Yeah. So
A little
there you
peek behind
go.
the curtain.
So Josh, do you
Well, and
want
if
to?
I could,
Yeah.
no, if I could just hop in there. I mean, there's one big thing that you mentioned, John, that I just really want to highlight is we we want our clients are coming in to feel not what's the word I'm looking for, comfortable, right? That's the
Hmm.
word you used. And that's the best word to really describe it. And we had even talked about it in a previous episode, right? Me being an introvert, it's kind of hard for me to give out my information voluntarily. But one thing I love about our platform is we've given so many ways and so many tools to capture that client information to make it as clean and as effective as possible. And also make the customer feel comfortable, right? I may not feel comfortable just saying my phone number out loud, but I'm so used to, especially as a millennial, to scan QR codes and just
Oh
add
yeah.
my own information myself via my phone. So having that capability in Clientbook just makes it's almost impossible not to capture client information just frankly, right? We just try and make it as intuitive and easy as possible, but we want to make it as comfortable as possible for the client, right? They may respond in so many different ways. So I just want to highlight some of those. Let's talk about client capture, right? How do we capture
Yeah.
contact information, right? And the easiest way that we recommend utilizing Clientbook as a tool is utilizing what we call kiosk mode. So here on your iPad or on your phone, on your today page, you should have in the top left-hand corner this little kiosk looking icon, for lack of a better term. This kiosk mode, right? Ideally, if you have this on an iPad, right, John comes into the store at any point during the conversation, I can hand John an iPad right here. This is what he's welcome to. One thing I do want to highlight here, this is all customizable, right? So the image, the logo, the background, the tap to get started, everything that you're seeing on your screen is customizable. So you can build it into your own flow, into your own, culture that you have
Yeah,
for
add
your
your
company.
logo, your colors, your branding. Marketing girl over here. I'm like, I want it all. I want it all to look good. So yeah, so I love that.
Exactly. If you want a square instead of a circle, right?
Yeah.
So it's customizable, right? Make it your own, but you can hand the iPad to a customer. They're taken to this landing page, right, where they can fill out their own contact information, right? And again, we haven't even gotten to the idea of tags yet, but we can again customize everything that you see on this page right here.
Hey,
And
Josh,
again, this is
can I ask you a
yeah,
question?
sure.
So when a lot of times I'll go on my phone and it'll give me a form. It lets me preload stuff. Like it just says click here and then it loads John Liebler and
Yeah.
will this do that?
It should, yeah. If you're using that QR code, I at least know in all of my testing, like on my phone, whenever I've done like the kiosk mode, it will just say like, because yeah, it's saved onto my phone, right? So again, just trying to make it as easy and comfortable for
Yeah.
the customer, right? I can hand them an iPad, or I can use my QR code right here, right? And this would
Ooh.
be assigned to that associate, right? So in this example, I'm actually signed in as Max Young. So if Max were to show me this QR code, I scan this on my phone, it takes me then to this landing page that you have built out, but it's on my phone, right? And so again, I feel more comfortable, especially as a millennial, to fill out this information just on my personal device. For whatever reason, it's all psychological. I don't know why,
I
but
mean,
I
yeah,
can
and
No,
to
speak for
but
John,
it's
myself.
yeah, and to
Yeah,
John's point too, it's on your phone, and so it preloads your contact, your stuff. It knows your
yeah,
name, it knows your phone number, makes it so
yeah.
easy. I love that.
Which means it's going to be accurate. Nobody like with me,
Yeah.
I fat finger everything. It's going to be right in there. That's great. I
yeah.
love that.
So this
Josh,
is our
there,
yeah.
and down the bottom it says choose favorites, engage rings, white gold, rose gold. So presumably as a customer, I can tell you what tags I want down there so the customer can sort of self segregate based on their needs. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I'm seeing a
Love
lot
it.
more companies personally moving away from so much like brands. Like you may see a lot of brands like Gabrielle and Co., for example, or why they're coming in. But usually, especially Gabrielle, you can kind of speak to this too as a marketing person. You may want to know, like, well, how did you hear about us? Right. So they're
Yes.
changing this instead of choosing favorites and listing your brands and stuff that you carry. You can label that and say, well, how did you hear about us? Right. And you can have a tag for like a
Mm,
radio or TV ad or whatever it
yeah,
may be.
social
Again, it's
media.
whatever information is valuable to you and you want to capture it, we can find a way to make this kiosk work for you.
That's
Um,
cool.
yeah. To John's point, the benefit of then using the kiosk, right? If I were to fill out this contact information and I add these tags to my profile, I then can utilize those tags as a filtering tool, right? I can find all my customers that have engagement rings or Gabriel and Co, for example, tagged to their profile, and then utilizing those tags. Again, I don't want to get too much into the weeds because I know this is either A in a future episode or we'll talk about it in this episode, right? But it it's so important to just start off on the right foot so that way down the line when you want to send a mass message or you want to find all of your customers and invite them in for a personalized Gabriel event, you have all that data available. So just capture that information and just make you and make your staff feel comfortable, but make the clients feel comfortable as well as they're
Hey,
giving that information.
hey, Josh, what's the link next to the QR code?
So instead of a QR code, you can also link this anywhere, right? So this link, you can email it to a customer, you can link it onto your website, you can link it on your Instagram page. It's just a link that you can utilize for wherever you want to insert a link effectively. But again, if I were to copy or paste that link onto my website, for example, if a customer were on your website and they click on that link, again, it will take them to this contact capture form.
I love it. So what I'm hearing is there's no excuse not to capture every customer, because I can do it myself. I can put on a piece of paper and type it in. I can give them a QR code. I can give them a link. I can give them an iPad. They're absolutely, we have that opportunity to do it 100% of the time. Yes?
Yep, absolutely. Personally, if I were to say as a side note, what I would love to see a customer do is do a QR code in the sky, right? I've seen companies do that where they use airplanes, right? And they create like a QR code like in the sky. You can do that. You can, sky's the limit, literally. You can do whatever you want with these tools.
You know, there's going to be $1 million writer out there right now who's going to create a QR code that shines in their house's Christmas lights, right? And somebody's going to drive by and scan it. This is actually a really good idea. It was being funny when I started, but can you see doing that and everyone scan it and comes? I love it.
Absolutely. I love it.
Thanks so much for joining us on this episode of Clienteling Our Way to Holiday Success with Clientbook. We had a great time showing you the Clientbook application, all the cool things you can do with it, and getting those customers loaded into the application so that you can follow up with them. If you want to learn how you can enrich that client profile, add things like birthdays, anniversaries, ring size, preferences, that's what we're going to talk about on our next episode. So make sure you're subscribed if you're not already, and join us next time. Have a great holiday season.